I sat close to the flickering campfire, the flames casting a warm glow that barely penetrated the chill of the desert air. Before me lay the ancient map, its surface alive with subtle, almost imperceptible movements, as if it breathed with the pulse of the world itself. Tonight, the map had revealed something new, something I could not yet fully understand. The symbols had shifted again at dawn, their lines redrawing themselves into patterns I hadn't seen before. A peculiar marking one that resembled a fragmented compass rose, intertwined with an unfamiliar glyph had appeared near the edge of the map. It hinted at a land beyond any charted territory, a place that defied all previous knowledge. My fingers traced the delicate lines, and a shiver ran down my spine, not from the cold, but from the weight of what this could mean. "You look like you've just seen a ghost," Lena said quietly, stepping out of the shadows and settling beside me. Her eyes, sharp and unyielding, reflected the firelight and the seriousness etched on my face. "Not a ghost," I replied, "but something equally elusive. The map. It's whispering of a place we've never known." She studied the shifting image on the parchment, her expression unreadable for a moment before she nodded. "Then we prepare. Whatever's out there, it's waiting." Our conversation was hushed, but filled with an urgency that neither of us wanted to voice outright. The journey had already tested the limits of our endurance, trust, and understanding. Yet the map's new revelation promised both hope and danger in equal measure. Across the camp, Professor Malik was immersed deeply in his own world. The flickering lantern cast long shadows across his lined face, his fingers moving deftly over a collection of ancient texts and scraps of parchment. His graying beard twitched as he read aloud from a faded manuscript, a low murmur that mingled with the crackling fire. "This symbol," he said, pointing to a sketch of the glyph matching the one on the map, "has been lost to time, buried in myths of a land swallowed by the sea or hidden beyond the mountains. Some believed it was mere legend, but now, it seems, it is real." His voice carried both excitement and a thread of apprehension. The academic in him reveled in the discovery, yet the scholar understood the risks such knowledge invited. Jade's presence was a reminder of the modern world's ever-watchful eyes. She sat nearby, her fingers flying over a small array of devices, intercepting communications and scanning for threats. The faint crackle of a radio transmission broke the quiet, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "Elias, you need to hear this," she said, handing me a small earpiece. "There's chatter from unknown sources, movements in regions we haven't mapped yet. They're talking about the same glyph, the same place. It's not just us who are interested." As I listened, the tension in my chest tightened. The map's whispers were becoming a chorus, a siren call drawing us toward a future fraught with peril and promise. Every step forward seemed shadowed by unseen eyes, every discovery tempered by the knowledge that we were not alone in our pursuit. That night, beneath the vast expanse of a darkened sky and the watchful gaze of the stars, I felt the weight of our quest more keenly than ever. The living map was no mere artifact. It was a living enigma, a puzzle that promised to reshape not only our understanding of the world, but the very fabric of reality. "What do you think awaits us in that unknown land?" Lena asked softly, breaking the silence. I paused, searching the shifting patterns on the map for an answer. "I don't know," I admitted, "but I do know that whatever it is, it will change everything." Hope and dread mingled in the cool night air, and as the first light of dawn threatened the horizon, I knew the whispers of the future were only just beginning. The map's secrets were far from fully revealed, and the endless pursuit pressed an invitation and a warning entwined in every shifting line. We packed quickly as the sky lightened, the camp stirring with a renewed sense of purpose. Lena checked her gear with practiced efficiency. Malik carefully folded his notes, and Jade scanned the horizon with a wary eye. I took one last look at the living map, now glowing faintly in the early light, its new symbol pulsing softly like a heartbeat. The path ahead was uncertain, the dangers unknown, but our resolve was unwavering. The map had spoken. It was time to listen and to follow where it led next. And so, beneath the slow awakening of the world, we set forth once more. Shadows lengthening behind us, the whispers of the future echoing in every step. The flickering campfire was the only steady light in the shadowed clearing, casting long, dancing silhouettes on the gnarled trunks of ancient trees. I sat close to the warmth, the map folded carefully in my pack beside me, but my mind was far from the shifting paths it revealed. Tonight, the journey felt less like a march across unpredictable lands and more like a pilgrimage through fragile human bonds. I glanced around at the faces gathered. Lena's sharp eyes softened by the firelight, Malik's beard catching the orange glow, Marco's rugged features stoic but attentive, and Jade's youthful focus never wavering. Each of them had carved a place beside me on this perilous quest, but beneath the surface of our alliance, I knew the undercurrents of suspicion and fear still rippled. "We've come so far," I began, my voice low, careful not to break the fragile quiet that had settled. Yet I can't help but feel the weight of what's left unsaid, the doubts, the betrayals. Trust isn't given lightly, especially now, but it's what will carry us forward. A hush fell. Lena shifted, her eyes meeting mine with a mixture of challenge and something softer, perhaps relief. "It's been hard," she admitted, "especially with what happened before. But if we don't trust each other now, we're doomed." I nodded, swallowing the lump of regret that had nestled deep in my throat. The memory of betrayal, a trusted ally who had turned into a shadow for Cross, almost costing us everything, still haunted the edges of my thoughts. But dwelling there would only fracture us further. "We all carry scars," Malik said, breaking the silence with a gentle rasp. "But it's the weaving together of our strengths and weaknesses that forms the true map of our journey. Like the ancient scripts I've studied, the fragile threads between symbols can mean the difference between chaos and order." His words struck a chord. The map itself was a testament to complexity and transformation. Perhaps our bonds needed the same care and attention. Later, Lena and I found ourselves apart from the group, the chill of night wrapping around us as we walked toward a nearby ridge. The silence was dense, but finally she spoke. "You don't have to carry this alone, Elias. I've seen what happens when we don't face our fears head on." Her voice was firm but tender, an anchor in the swirling uncertainty. I met her gaze, the vulnerability between us laid bare beneath the moon's watchful eye. "Trust has always been my greatest challenge," I confessed. "After losing my mentor, after all the betrayals, it's hard not to build walls, but I'm learning that walls can also imprison." She nodded thoughtfully. "Then let's tear down the walls together." Returning to the camp, I found Malik engrossed in his notes, his fingers tracing the faded ink of ancient symbols. "There's a pattern here," he said brightly, "a balance that echoes the fragile trust we must nurture among ourselves. It's not unlike the map of a shifting, yet guided by an unseen hand." His passion was infectious, and as I looked around at my companions, I saw reflected in their eyes a rekindled determination. We were no longer just individuals thrown together by circumstance, but a web of interlaced fates, fragile yet strong when held with care. As dawn painted the horizon with strokes of pink and gold, we gathered to plan our next move. Our voices wove together, a tapestry of ideas and strategies born from renewed trust. The living map awaited, its secrets beckoning us onward. But this time, we were ready not just as explorers, but as guardians bound by the threads of trust we had chosen to weave. The journey ahead promised peril and wonder in equal measure, but beneath the ever-shifting sky, I felt a steady pulse of hope. Trust was not a certainty, but it was the compass that would guide us through the uncharted territories of both land and heart. And with that, we stepped forward into the new day. The map's latest transformation, illuminating paths yet unseen, and the promise that whatever storms may come, we would face them together. The air was crisp and carried the scent of damp earth and distant rain, while the soft light of dawn painted the world in hues of gold and amber. In my hands, the ancient map pulsed faintly, alive, ever-changing, a living testament to the mysteries I had chased for so long. The map's latest transformation was unlike any before. New symbols emerged along the borders, faintly glowing as if beckoning me to consider what lay beyond mere geography. I breathed deeply, the weight of my discoveries settling heavily on my shoulders. For years, I had sought answers, the mythical origin of the world, the secrets buried beneath shifting lands and lost civilizations. But standing here now, watching the world reshape itself beneath the dawn, I felt the truth more keenly than ever. Knowledge was no simple treasure. It was a double-edged sword, capable of illuminating our path and cutting it off in the same breath. I turned away from the cliff and made my way back to camp, where Lena and Professor Malik were already awake, their quiet voices weaving through the morning air. The tent was modest, a shelter from the unpredictable elements, but inside, our conversations felt weightier than any fortress walls. Lena's practical eyes met mine first, steady and unwavering despite the fatigue etched into her features. Malik, with his familiar absent-mindedness softened in the light of responsibility, unfurled a worn scroll across the table. "Elias," Lena began, her voice low but firm, "we can't afford to let this power fall into the wrong hands. But we also can't ignore the potential to learn, to grow. It's a delicate balance, and I worry we're close to tipping the scales." I nodded. "I know. Every new path the map reveals is a promise and a threat. It's like walking a razor's edge between discovery and destruction." Malik stroked his graying beard thoughtfully. "The ancients understood this better than we do. The legends speak of guardians who bore the burden of knowledge, ensuring it wasn't exploited. But guarding knowledge requires sacrifice and wisdom, qualities not always found." Our discussion stretched into the afternoon, weaving through fears, hopes, and the daunting responsibilities that awaited us. I felt the familiar stirrings of doubt, the ghosts of past failures, whispering their caution, but also the growing certainty that my role was no longer that of a mere seeker. I was becoming a guardian, a steward of this living map's fragile legacy. Suddenly, a tremor shook the ground beneath us, the earth's rumble echoing through the valley. I steadied myself against the tense frame, the moment a stark reminder of the forces we contended with, forces both natural and human. The balance we sought to maintain was precarious. One misstep could unleash chaos upon a world already fragile. That night, as the camp settled into uneasy silence, I sat alone by the flickering candlelight, my notes spread before me. The shadows danced on the canvas walls, mirroring the turmoil within. Every line I wrote was a negotiation between hope and fear, between the relentless pursuit of truth and the imperative to protect. Memories of my lost mentor surfaced, his voice echoing in my mind. "Knowledge is a burden, Elias, not a gift. Those who seek it must carry the weight with humility and courage." With a deep breath, I understood that this balance between exploration and exploitation, between knowledge and power, was the essence of our journey. The map would keep shifting, as would the world itself. What mattered was how we chose to walk its paths. As I closed my journal and extinguished the candle, a quiet determination settled in my chest. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new revelations, but I was ready to face them, not just as a seeker, but as a guardian, because the true origin of the world was not merely a place or a secret. It was the enduring human spirit's capacity to balance awe with responsibility. And so, with the dawn yet to come, I prepared to step into the unknown once more, the living map glowing softly in the darkness, a beacon of endless pursuit and fragile hope. Elias Mercer stood silently before the ancient parchment unfurled on the wooden table, the living map breathing softly beneath his gaze. Each morning, as the first rays touched its surface, the map's stirred lines shifted, new symbols emerged, and entire regions rearranged themselves in a dance of geography and mystery. Today was no different. Yet, as Elias watched the map redraw itself with delicate, almost hypnotic movements, a profound realization settled deep within him. This pursuit, this endless chase for truth and understanding, was as infinite as the shifting lands themselves. The air in the tent was cool but alive with anticipation. Outside, the world began to awaken the distant call of birds, the rustling of leaves stirred by a gentle breeze, and the faint murmur of a nearby stream blended into a symphony of morning. Elias felt a surge of awe mingled with contemplative wonder. The map was no longer just a tool. It was a living testament to the fluidity of knowledge, a reminder that certainty was a fleeting illusion. He reached out, fingertips brushing the surface where a newly revealed path traced a winding river through an uncharted territory. The ink shimmered faintly, as if infused with the very essence of the land it depicted. His heart quickened, not with the excitement of conquest, but with the humbling awareness of being part of something far greater, a ceaseless journey into the unknown. Behind him, Lena Dawes stirred, her sharp eyes catching the glint of dawn. She approached quietly, her footsteps light against the worn wooden floor. "Another new path," she remarked, nodding toward the map. "It never ceases, does it?" Elias smiled softly, the weight of their shared experiences threading through the moment. "No, and perhaps it shouldn't. To seek an end would be to deny the very nature of discovery." Lena's gaze softened. "You've changed, Elias. From the cautious man who once feared shadows to someone who embraces the unknown with open arms." He looked away briefly, the memories of trials past flickering like ghosts in his mind, the betrayals, the battles, the losses. Yet here they stood, united, resilient. "I've learned that some quests don't have endings. They evolve, like the map. And so must we." Later that evening, the three of them, Elias, Lena, and Professor Haroun Malik, gathered around a flickering campfire. The warm glow painted their faces with shades of amber and gold, the crackling flames weaving stories of their own. The night was alive with the gentle sounds of the wilderness, the distant hoot of an owl, the rustle of nocturnal creatures among the underbrush, and the whisper of the wind carrying the scent of earth and rain. Professor Malik, ever the passionate scholar, despite his graying beard and absent-minded tendencies, spoke softly of myths and histories, his voice threading the past and present into a tapestry of meaning. The map is more than a guide. It's a dialogue between time and space, between what was and what might be. Elias nodded, feeling the weight of those words settle alongside his own thoughts. This endless pursuit was not merely about cartography or power. It was a testament to human resilience, curiosity, and the unyielding desire to understand. Days later, a sudden gust of wind swept across the rugged terrain where they had made camp. Elias closed his eyes, inhaling deeply the mingled scents of damp earth and fresh rain on stone. Beneath his boots, the shifting land pulsed faintly, as if alive and aware. The world was not static, it breathed, changed, and challenged him to keep pace. Returning to his tent, Elias pored over his meticulously kept notes and sketches. The flickering lantern cast dancing shadows on the canvas walls, echoing the restless movements of the map itself. Each alteration, each new symbol, sparked fresh questions and possibilities. The boundaries of knowledge stretched endlessly before him, a horizon that receded no matter how far he traveled. He traced a finger along the lines that now suggested a hidden valley, untouched and waiting. "What secrets do you hold?" he whispered, the words lost in the soft rustle of paper. His mind raced not with frustration, but with renewed determination. The map's perpetual transformations signified that his quest would never truly end. Yet this was no longer a source of despair. It was a call to vigilance and wonder, to guard such power, to explore without end, and to protect against those who would seek to exploit it. That was his charge. Elias felt the familiar stirrings of hope mingled with cautious resolve. He was no longer just a seeker of knowledge. He was a guardian of mysteries, a sentinel standing watch at the crossroads of past and future. The endless pursuit was not a burden, but a privilege, a journey woven with awe and purpose. As the night deepened, he closed his journal and looked once more at the map, now calm in the quiet darkness. Tomorrow it would shift again, and so would he. The map whispered its secrets in the language of shifting lines and dawning light, inviting him onward into the unknown. Elias Mercer smiled, ready to answer its call. The parchment, aged and worn by centuries, shimmered faintly as if breathing, alive with the promise of new paths and undiscovered secrets. Elias stood still, his sharp eyes behind round glasses, tracing the shimmering lines that had redrawn themselves overnight. Each dawn, the map transformed landscapes shifted. Routes appeared and disappeared, and symbols emerged that whispered of mysteries far beyond ordinary understanding. In this quiet moment, Elias felt the full weight of the journey he had undertaken and the responsibility now resting squarely on his shoulders. Years of perilous travel, encounters with lost civilizations, and harrowing confrontations with those who sought to exploit the map had culminated in this solitary vigil. The room was filled with the scent of old paper and ink, mingling with the faint aroma of morning dew drifting in from the open window. Outside, the world was waking. Soft birdsong threaded the air, and a gentle breeze stirred the leaves of ancient trees nearby. Yet inside, time seemed suspended as Elias absorbed the map's latest transformation. His fingers hovered above the parchment, trembling slightly as they traced a newly formed path winding through uncharted territories. This was no longer merely a quest for knowledge, but a sacred duty to safeguard an ancient power that could reshape worlds. The map was more than a guide. It was a living testament to humanity's endless pursuit of understanding and the fragile balance between discovery and destruction. As Elias leaned closer, memories of companions past and present washed over him. Lena's pragmatic courage, Moloch's passionate wisdom, Marco's steadfast guidance, and Jade's vigilant support. Each had played a vital role in navigating the shifting lands and evading the relentless pursuit of General Victor Cross's forces. Though the antagonist had been defeated, the echoes of conflict lingered, reminding Elias that vigilance was eternal. He exhaled slowly, the breath steadying his resolve. The map's shifting lines glowed faintly, responding to his silent vow. "I will protect you," he whispered, The words, a solemn promise to the ancient parchment and the world it represented. This was not an end, but a beginning, a new chapter in an unending story. Elias stepped away from the table and moved to the window. Beyond, the landscape stretched in a fluid panorama where earth and sky melded in a dance of light and shadow. The horizon blurred, a living canvas that shifted with the map's will. Here, the boundaries of reality and myth intertwined, inviting those who dared to explore and understand. The weight of guardianship settled comfortably on Elias's shoulders, no longer a burden but a mantle of honor. He knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges and sacrifices, yet his heart brimmed with cautious hope. The map's secrets were safe, for Namd, the world's cradle, awaited those brave enough to seek its truths. Turning from the window, Elias gathered his tools, notes, compass, and a worn leather satchel containing relics from his journey. Each item bore the mark of experience, a testament to trials faced and lessons learned. He paused, eyes meeting his own reflection in the glass, seeing not just a cartographer but a guardian, a keeper of stories, and a beacon for future explorers. Outside, the dawn chorus swelled, birds taking wing against a canvas painted in hues of rose and amber. The shifting lands beckoned, alive with promise and peril. Elias stepped forward, the map's glow illuminating his path as the first rays of sun crowned the horizon. The endless pursuit continued. With a steady hand and an unyielding spirit, Elias Mercer embraced the dawn not merely as the start of a day, but as the herald of new adventures, new discoveries, and the eternal dance between the known and the unknown. The living map awaited, its secrets unfolding with each sunrise, and Elias stood ready to walk its paths, guardian of a world forever in motion. As the light deepened, the room seemed to pulse with quiet energy. The map's lines shifted once more, revealing a faint new symbol, promise unspoken, a mystery yet to be uncovered. Elias smiled softly, the spark of wonder rekindled. The journey was far from over. He stepped outside into the shifting landscape, the air crisp and tinged with possibility. The horizon stretched infinitely, a living tapestry of change and chance. Elias breathed deeply, feeling the pulse of the earth beneath his feet and the infinite sky above. In this moment, he was both a solitary watcher and a part of something far greater, new guardian standing at the threshold of endless horizons, ready to face whatever the dawn would bring. And so, with hope steady in his heart and the living map as his guide, Elias Mercer took the first step into the next great adventure.